My apologies. What happened there was apparently some sort of scammer appearing on Steam, of course, pretending to be an admin. And of course, just for those on Steam, if you see someone like that, just block them and tell them to bugger off. They aren't from Steam. Anyhow, it's back to the match, and I do apologize for his very rude maneuvers, and of course, he's a bastard. Anyhow, back to the match. And we are seeing a bit of a fight here. Lieutenant with veterancy 1. Oh dear, get out of there, good Lieutenant. Get out of there. You would be too great a loss for the King. He would be most disappointed to see you die. And let us in fact return to the good Major McNaP. Armored car with veterancy 3. Very nice job, of course. Keeping close to troops, and of course one thing to note. What's going on? I apologize for this, and I'll of course try to keep things as smooth as possible. Heads are moving awfully close, having gained a few kills itself. And with offensive veterancy 1, of course, it will have a bit. Of course, one thing to note, of course, with the Panzer Elite veterancy, and I'll just briefly pause again, just in case it does decide to bog down a bit again, but it works a bit differently than other veterancy bits, because, well, it's shared. So, for example, of course, if you have a lot of units bunched together, they will share the veterancy, of course, so keeping them together and fighting together will, in fact, increase veterancy and will help other units, perhaps not so great in combat, to gain veterancy themselves, and then of course you can gain offensive, so they can actually hit things a bit better in case of the hits, of course. So keep such things in mind. Not only is it good in case to just try and keep them together, of course not blobbing together, that will end up very badly, but keeping them together, and of course even less combat ready units, because they will gain veterancy in that way. And returning to the match, not looking good for the British though. Panzergrenadiers swiftly beginning to repair once more. And what is this? A Cromwell command tank sneaking in behind enemy lines. Armored command truck right there. Lots of munitions. And what is this? A small raid behind enemy lines. Absolutely dashing and certainly fitting off the cruiser command tank. What now? Instead, completely ignoring all of these troops. What does he do? He continues the hunt right through the enemy base. Kettenkrad, will it be knocked out? Yes, Kettenkrad is out, and the Cromwell just continues taking quite a few shots to the rear, but it utterly ignores otherwise the entire German army, which of course rushes back towards to try and catch the Cromwell, but of course with high speed it just cruises away, cruises through the enemy lines, leaving a wake of crushed German vehicles. So that's actually an incredibly clever move, certainly very rare you see something like that, but not a bad idea. Reconnaissance section though absolutely torn apart, would have to retreat. Get them out of there. There we go. And German troops sneaking in through with assault rifles, quite veteran troops, but they are a bit exposed. Bren guns and rifle grenades. Further Panzergrenadiers marching in now, hoping perhaps to deliver some counter punishment for that Cromwell sneaking behind enemy lines, doing quite a bit of damage. Cromwell is there. The heads are perhaps hoping to block off any returns there. And what is this? A lot of wounded British infantry. But what is this? Counter artillery fire from the British. Perhaps what one might call a stonk, which was, I do believe, shorthand for standard concentration, which was basically a way of pre-planning artillery for swift blasting of your opposing enemy positions and whatnot. Of course, I might be wrong. I'm not that huge knowledgeable on British artillery, and of course, I'm sure someone with an understanding of that can easily point things out. But I, and of course, clarify what a stonk is. But there was something the British called a stonk. There you go. But certainly quite effective. Certainly put a stop to that German assault. Killed quite a few Panzergrenadiers as well, I believe. Cromwell, though, a bit unfortunate, and now Panzergrenadiers with a Piat is on the hunt. Sneaky, sneaky, and the heads are being sent back to the front. Now that any old British armor has been confirmed to being up here, so of course hoping to keep them there, and preferably keep them dead. And we are seeing another casualty clearing station, one not being enough. Still not no any luck with actually getting out any British infantry. A lot of command points. Might be going for the priest, and there we go. In fact, 105mm priest self-propelled gun, and one chap I do know by the name who calls himself Hauptmann Rob has said he did want the sexton, which was pretty much the exact same thing except with the 25 pounder instead of the 105mm howitzer. There you go. And of course a little shout out to him. Nice enough chap. And we are seeing the Germans apparently rather directing all of their forces towards the south to react to this single sapper team, perhaps expecting a larger force. I can't say. The sappers though quick to get inside the building and deliver some Piat fun, but they are caught inside the building as at the same time a incendiary round landed on the building right in front of it. In fact, oh dear, not looking good. And now incendiary grenades are being thrown into the church, really doing their best to try and get those sappers out of there, and those sappers will be needed to evacuate it. And barely getting out there, Cromwell moving in from the north, trying to duel with their Hetzer, but not having much luck. In fact, since it is badly damaged. Pia troops though moving in, blasting away rifle grenades as well. And the Hetzer does take a frontal shot, but the sloped 60mm armor does deflect it. And all those Panzer Grenadiers are awfully exposed. Incendiary grenades landing in on the British clumped up troops, doing quite a bit of damage. Artillery fire blasting in, forcing all the Panzer Grenadiers into a retreat. And the Hetzer pulling back as well. Mortar half-track, they're awfully exposed, will have to get out of there, or apparently just stand still and ignore all that nasty artillery fire. Quite bold, in fact. And we are seeing an infantry half-track as well. That's a bit rarer. And certainly at this stage of the game, it of course can help reinforce infantry and of course provide some light firepower. And we're also seeing an armored car, so quite a lot of vehicles of the light kind. Might suppose I want to get a Bergtiger to sort of help getting all of those vehicles back on their feet. We'll have to see. And of course those two light stewards are still here, wrecked in the northern half. The British are slowly securing all 3 victory points, but the 12th SS, not to be deterred, are launching up for a fresh assault. More half-tracks, Hetzer and armored car ready to lead the assault. The British are a bit low though, but still plenty of infantry, but it is of course going to need to be reinforced. A bit expensive that, and of course the Cromwell is still there. And looks like he is saving together some manpower for that priest.
Have moved on one of our victory locations.
And what is this? Further Panzer Grenadiers marching in. Half tracks, Hetzer, and of course that armored car. Not doing much, but there we go. Swinging towards the north, towards the closest point, while the Kettenkrad is going for the central point. Another Kettenkrad. I wonder how many has been lost. But charging towards here, not really much cover for any defenders here. And that reconnaissance section is certainly awfully exposed, and will have to run the gauntlet for all of this German firepower. And my goodness, a Jagdpanther from the Schwere Panzerabteilung 653, which was fully equipped with Jagdpanthers. Quite devastating, armed with the high velocity 88mm gun and a thick sloped armor. Quite the beast, and of course using the chances of the Panther and of course the engine, it was also quite swift and quite dangerous. I do believe it was also sort of intended at times as a sort of assault gun, but I'm a bit unsure of that. But it can in fact do some nasty bits against infantry as well. And we are seeing British troops lining up, apparently not entirely sure what to expect, but we are also seeing the priest is on the field with a 50 caliber machine gun mount as well for close infantry support. Defense, I mean. There you go. Germans lining up awfully close together though. Very, very close together. And something tells me this is an artilleryman stream. We shall of course have to see how this goes. And I hear the sound of the priest as it preaches to the choir. And catching all of those German troops. Oh dear, they all clustered up. Oh my god, that's horrible. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, just enjoying the nice explosion. A bit of sparks and fire, of course, all the smoke and all that. That's one of the best reasons why on earth you should not blob up your troops. They make excellent targets for artillery, and just as you saw there, clumped up with, of course, all the vehicles as well. Absolute massacre. So again, there you go. Don't blow up infantry up. Mortar half-track goes out of control. Infantry half-track also awfully exposed. The British are certainly holding out very nicely there. And now extra artillery just being called in just for the sake, in case even their souls survived. The British do not want it. Major McNaP wants full death. Even the ground itself must die. And the Hetzer now as well is out of control, having survived for so long. It is on fire and blows up. This has certainly been a quite devastating loss, leaving behind only an infantry half-track, an armored car, and the Jagdpanther itself to desperately hold the line. Rifle Grenadiers apparently trying to move in. That's perhaps not the best idea. Jagdpanther not hitting anything. Not looking good though, but still holding the line. Not a lot of infantry left for the 12th SS, as they just, of course, took quite a beating there. Quite a walloping. Only the Jagdpanther is now left, blasting away at this building with sappers in it. Will it force them out? Apparently it will hit the ground instead. Panzergrenadiers, the remaining Panzergrenadiers are swift to begin repairing, but certainly heavy losses, absolute tragic losses. Buttoning up the Jagdpanther, which is taking quite a bit of fire from all sides. It will need some support rather swiftly. And will we be seeing any fireflies out? Apparently not. And now we are seeing priest fire blasting in. Oh dearie me, firing back into the path where the Jagdpanther has to go. Excellent idea. It could in fact even have killed some of those Panzergrenadiers and the armored car with a bit more luck. And now instead just hitting every shot too far though. Where previously it hit right on the spot. Oh dearie me, the Jagdpanther really is in a lot of trouble. Apparently I do hope he's gotten the expert repairs for those Panzergrenadiers, otherwise that Jagdpanther will be out of commission for the rest of the game. Oh dear, what is it doing now? Apologies, my dear viewers. Things are stabilized for now. But still, there you go. And now going for a 17-pounder anti-tank gun, really the final nail in the coffin for the 12th SS, as they will probably try to press through here again. Sort of the same, let's attack from the same point approach every single time, which of course doesn't always work, in particular if your opponent actually figures out what you're up to and prepares accordingly. Oh, come on. Do try and stay stable for a bit longer. And let's see if we can't figure out what's going on.